On the 2nd of July 2014, an ad was made on Craiglist. It came from an 18-year-old girl named Brooke Slocum and was but a simple request for cash.
I need $50 by 3:30 p.m. today. I can pay you back later tonight, but I need gas and some meth quick. Everyone has bronchitis at my house and I do not want to get sick. I'm 8 months pregnant and my lungs are all squished as is. If you could help, me and my daughter will greatly appreciate it.
This post remained untouched for 10 days. At 10:08 p.m. on the night of July 12th, Slocum receives an email from a man going by the name Mike's Hard. I can host, what are you thinking? I'm 25. This was a reply to other separate ads that Brooke made around the same time period in which she would solicit sex for money. According to her friends, it wasn't willingly, as her then boyfriend, 25-year-old Charles Oppenheer, would coerce her to do this while accompanying her during these meetups. Reluctant, Slocum responds 20 minutes later.
Well, we're looking for donations if possible. Kinda in a tight spot, and we have a baby on the way. As far as the fund goes, though, there won't be any mail.
How does $120 sound? I can drive you over here if you need.
No, we can travel, just can't host is all. When and where would you like to meet up?
I like to f*** outside in a park around 11:30. That okay?
I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble for indecent exposure or anything. I can't go to jail being 8 months pregnant.
It's cop-free. It's a park, but behind it there are lots of woods. No cops at all. This last email arrived at 10:59 p.m. and as we can see, Mike's Hard was keen on meeting that same night. Needless to say, Slocum ended up accepting, and their trip to Gazon Park in Wyoming, Michigan was on. It's midnight. The couple arrives, with Mike pulling up shortly after. Initially believing this to be another sex meetup, the two approach Mike without much concern. Sometime during the next few minutes, Brooke is grabbed, bound and shoved into the trunk of Mike's car. In haste, Charles tries to help, however is unsuccessful, resulting in a violent altercation between the two. It's unclear how long this fight lasted. However, what is certain is that during this, Charles was violently killed. Mike drags his body near the woods, saws his head off, and covers the remains with sticks. And without so much of a single witness, he jumps in his car and, alongside Charles' head and Brooke Slocum stowed behind him, drives off into the night. After realizing that Oppenheer's car had not moved in days, police began probing on his whereabouts. When asked, his parents drummed up nothing, his work nothing. No one knew where he was, but his car was there. And so they began searching the park on July 17th, 5 days after the incident with Mike's Hard. Upon scouring the wooded area that lined its back end, they then discover a headless body under some brush. And it was later identified as Charles Oppenheer. In the coming hours, it was realized that Oppenheer wasn't single, and his girlfriend, too, was missing. In haste, authorities obtained a search warrant for her apartment and began searching her laptop. On it, there were a myriad of conversations. However, one thread from Mike's Hard stood out among the rest. The Internet Crimes Against Children unit was called in for analysis on the real name behind the alias, and they found that this address was tied to another email which was tied to a Facebook for a man not named Mike, but Brady Ostrike. They stake out near his home while they await a search warrant. There wasn't enough evidence for an arrest warrant by this point, so that was a frustrating roadblock. The hours tick by without much happening. However, around 9 p.m. on the night of July 17th, Brady would be spotted jumping into his car and leaving his home. A few moments later, he stopped by a nearby officer. Before they could get to him, though, he takes off, leading to a grueling pursuit. Eventually, he loses control and crashes into a cement barrier. As the officers pull up for apprehension, however, he shoots in the head and falls forth to his death. A few seconds later, police approach and search his vehicle. In it was 31-year-old Brady Ostrike, dead in the front seat. And in the trunk, stuffed within a suitcase, was 18-year-old Brooke Slocum and her unborn daughter, both of whom were deceased. Upon searching Ostrike's home shortly after, they discovered a plethora of ropes, knives, swords, cages, straps, and bizarre writings that make little to no sense at all. His toilet was inoperable, and the entire place was nothing short of rancid. Most interesting of all, however, was the discovery of cameras. As it turned out, he had them all over his home so he could document his actions. And what you're seeing here is Ostrike as he prepares the basement he kept Slocum in for those agonizing 5 days. Now, there exists footage of Brady Ostrike's grueling torture of Brooke Slocum. However, you'll never see it. The police department has gone on record to say that they will never release it, however describe it as something straight out of a nightmare. During the time Slocum was captive, and even when police were right outside the home, she was locked in handcuffs with a chain around her neck. Reportedly, Ostrike had bound her arms to the ropes hanging from the ceiling and left her dangling while he sexually assaulted and tortured her before strangling her to death. All of this was captured on film. Years later, Oppenheimer's head was found off some back roads, 17 miles north of Gizon Park. It's a chilling end to a disturbing online saga and really drives home the fact that you really don't know who it is you're meeting with on Craigslist, dating apps, OfferUp, what have you, until you actually come face to face.